All right, family. Welcome to the place to be. I am your host, Brother Hatim, and this is the Daily Toast. And I need to remind you that you are now standing in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Thank you, Anime. I am your host. Already said my name, and of course, you know this is a Heart of December production. All day, every day. But we strive to blow up your old paradigms. Alright, family, we gonna get into some stuff real quick, and then we gonna move to the toast, because you know, of course, I'm running late. Can't even explain. I had absolutely no reason not to get up, but shit, that bed felt so good. Lord have mercy. Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna do once this new mattress. I don't know. Lord have mercy. But anyway, we gonna go and we gonna move. And I want us to talk about it because I constantly talk to the family about the players. I mean, in Nguza and how to use Nguza. So, in my studies on YouTube, you know what I'm saying. I go to YouTube Versity. I call it, YouTube Versity. You know what I'm saying? Because you got information that's accessible, and because of the plan that I have, I can listen to it and drive. Okay, so I'm able to kind of, experience and learn, and also on the side read the books, and then also get an opportunity to think. And I think all of us need to take some time and do some thinking at times. So I found a book. It's called The Champion's Mind, and it's by an author by the name of Jim Afremow. And there's certain YouTubers who do quick synopsises of books. They break them down. They break it down into like one page where they cover some core ideas, right? And this is the champion's mind state. You know what I'm saying? What makes it possible for a champion to be a champion? And I wanted us to just look at maybe the first 2 minutes of this and the champion's mind. There you go, right there. How great athletes think, train, and thrive. Right. So I want us to go through the first maybe 1 or 2 minutes because I want to show you what we talk about in Gye-Nyame, because they're gonna get into some stuff. I'm gonna talk to you about how we used Nguza Saba to not only improve our lives but to move forward and build our community. So here we go. I'm going to be stopping and doing some commentary, so bear with me.
Mind by Jim Afremow. The difference between a pedestrian performance and a peak performance begins and ends with your state of mind. Adopting a winning mindset will help you perform at the top of your game and enable you to succeed when you want to succeed the most. Jim Afremow. Jim Afremow is a sports psychologist who has helped dozens of athletes prepare for the Olympic Games.
So, he's talking about the Afremow dude, and for those that don't know, peak athletes, top athletes, all have not only physical trainers, but they have mental trainers. As nation builders, as tribe builders, as warriors, as elders, we also need performance critiques. We need individuals who can not only look at the work we're doing, but help us refine what we're doing, right? We need coaching, right? We need coaching, and because for what we doing, the coaches don't exist. Some of us need to become these coaches, right? We need to become these coaches. We need to have nation builders and tribal coaches that can keep us in the proper frame of mind to do nation building, because in order to be a nation builder, you need to be a peak performer. In order to be a warrior, you got to be able to put up a peak performance at all times, especially for what we're doing. What we got popping off is a Herculean task. You know what I'm saying? Many would say impossible, but in Gye-Nyame, impossible just means it takes a little bit longer. Possible might be a week to 30 days, you know what I'm saying, if we really focus. But, it is what it is. Let's keep it moving.
But you don't need to be training for the next Olympics to use the powerful lessons in this book. If you want to step up and stand out in any competitive environment, be it at work or in sports, you need to think like a champion. When you learn to think like a champion, you'll bring your best self to every intense work meeting, interview, or presentation and impress the people you want to impress most.
We constantly talk about the toast, and part of our toast. What is it that you need to move towards the greatest you, the greater you? Being able to operate at a peak level at all times. You know what I'm saying? Of course, now let me say this. Because in between the presentations, in between the work, in between all that stuff, right? Of course, we're going to have down times. Of course, we're going to have times when we're off. But through our training, through us working, through our principles, through us finding our principles in the world, right? It will enable us to be able to actualize the best of who we are at the moments that it counts, right? We be able to be peak performers when we're doing our meetings. You know what I'm saying? When we're interviewing people to come into, which is something we have to do, and you just can't let anybody in the tribe, just can't let anybody in the village. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to us doing presentation and actually being out in the community doing the work. When we out there, we got to be at our peak performance. Now let's see what that takes.
Learning to think like a champion will help you or your child perform better in any athletic competition. So let me explain 4 components of how a champion thinks using the acronym BEST. Remember these 4 components before each performance, and you'll be well on your way to performing your best.
Now this is why I wanted to share this, because I want to break down something real quick, all right? Because what he's about to say is something that we have to kind of push past, but I want y'all to look at this. Let's go.
Years ago, a Japanese general stopped at a religious shrine before a battle. After praying with his men, the general took out a coin and said, "I shall now toss this coin. If it lands on heads, we shall win. If tails, we shall lose. Destiny will now reveal itself." He flipped the coin, and the men watched intently as it landed. It was heads. The soldiers were overjoyed and rushed into battle, feeling invincible despite being outnumbered. After the victory, a lieutenant turned to the general and said, "It was meant to be. No one can change destiny." "Quite right," the general said, as he showed the lieutenant the coin with heads on both sides. The first letter in our BEST acronym stands for belief. Champions go into every competition believing that success is inevitable. Like those Japanese soldiers, success seems like destiny.
As Mama Margarita says, we shall win, but let's look at the components of that.
But how can anyone develop such a strong belief when failure is a real possibility? The short answer? Trust your training. A champion doesn't doubt his or her ability because they believe that they've worked harder than anyone else going into a competition.
So now we can stop it right there. I'm going to stop it right there. Now, because like for Gye-Nyame, we replace belief in the player's pyramid, because belief, we have a lot of people that believe. We got a lot of people that's operating on a belief, right? And for us, a belief is not enough. For athletes, belief is not enough, right? Like my man said, you have to trust in your training, not just believe you're gonna win. Some of us believe we're gonna get rich. Some of us believe everything's gonna be okay. Some of us just believe. But in our culture, we don't talk about belief. We talk about faith, right? Faith, right? Which is belief and action. Not just action after you formulate the belief, but the actions that led up to the event that you were going to participate in. Now, I love the story about the Japanese general because I want you to understand this. During that time, it was very religious. So the general went in and did all of the religious rites with the soldiers. May have cried, may have prayed, they bowed at the temple. Bad situation, and he he used the energy of these individuals' belief, right? Also with the training that they had went through, and he used a double-headed coin to increase not only their belief, but to plug in to that faith so that they could move out and be victorious. And I'm challenging you today, right? Because like I said, what training do you have to justify your belief in what it is that you're doing? What training are you undergoing on a regular basis to justify the belief that you have? And look around you at some of the people and be clear on whether they are having illusions, because if you just believe something but you are not doing the training to move into that, if you are not doing the study to move into that, if you are not doing the movements to move into that, if you have not changed the areas of your life in order to move into that, you're operating strictly on belief. And that's not good. What we need to activate in our community is the first step in the player's pyramid. The last, in the way we practice it, the last principle, the base of the pyramid of the Nguzo Saba, and that's faith. First, having faith in ourselves, faith in our teachers, faith in our abilities, faith in our training and practice. Then we can move up to the next step of the pyramid, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but I just kind of wanted to cover that because that, that story, I love them stories, right? And I love the way that general was able to use the belief of the individuals, right? And eliminate their doubts and get them to not only trust in their training, but to trust in their destiny to win, which we have to believe in. We have to believe in our destiny to win, but if we are not practicing the things that are necessary for us to win, and not only win, to carry on afterwards, because the battle and the fight is one thing, but managing the territory that you achieve when you do win is something else. Are we in preparation? Because it's a lot of us talking about, boom, 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 overcoming injustice and overcoming and making America a better place. But are we preparing ourselves not only for the battle to come, but for the battle to keep it afterwards? One of the things I constantly remind myself of, and like I said, I love stories, and one of my favorite stories in the Bible, in the Hebraic tradition, is the story of David and Solomon. David was a hell of a warrior. As a matter of fact, David built everything that built the wealth of Solomon, who, according to those scriptures, was the richest man in the world, the richest and the wisest man in the world. But Solomon would have been nothing unless his father, he wouldn't be nothing if his father did not get out and handle the business. Solomon was able to run the nation after David won the nation. Let me say it again. Solomon was only able to run the nation after David won the nation. You know what I'm saying? And in many aspects, many of us have to look at ourselves as a David type figure in our community. We are going to have to win, but we have to prepare our young people to rule. It was said David couldn't build the temple because his hands was too bloody. My hands too bloody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some of y'all hands is too bloody to actually get in there and run the actual mechanism. But we can start preparing the next generation to do that. But we have to have faith in ourselves, faith in our abilities. We have to be practicing and preparing ourselves for that. But hey, enough of that. It's time for us to get to the toast. Where my toast screen at? Anime, are you ready? Anime?